he's massively undervalued in fantasy. So if you want to go out there and make like a little bit of a gamble, I would say take him with one of your last picks. Jalen McMillan, definitely going to have to be one of those guys you're going to have to cover, especially if a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin goes down. He's immediately elevated to wide receiver 2, and we are off to the races. So,
hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage.
Afternoon, Todd Bowles, since nobody wants to say good morning. Or afternoon, Jesus.
You've been on training camps, look at your defense. What do you like best about your starting 11 on defense heading into the season?
I mean, I like that they play hard and they talk to each other. Communication's better. We got to execute and still some things to learn, but I like where they're headed.
Baker's coming off his career high, sharing touchdown passes, yards, and completion percentage. Where can you see his game elevating this year? What are your expectations?
Expectations are to get wins, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball. If he can take care of the football and understand the offense and get it where it needs to be, those are my expectations. The stats will come with it.
I agree, because to be honest, their running game is going to be an interesting one with, of course, Rachaad White and Bucky Irving in the running back room. And a lot of people are expecting Bucky to really take that jump forward. Wide receiver room, though, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. I think he's going to be one of the best wide receiver 3s in the game this year. Being a rookie, he's massively undervalued in fantasy. So if you want to go out there and make like a little bit of a gamble, I would say take him with one of your last picks. Jalen McMillan, definitely going to have to be one of those guys you're going to have to cover, especially if a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin goes down. He's immediately elevated to wide receiver 2, and we are off to the races. So hopefully you guys are ready for this, because it is Baker season 2.0.
Is this a game, elusive quarterback, hot weather, 425, where there's kind of an accent on rotation, especially up front, guys chasing Daniels?
Well, we do that a lot anyway on D-line, so, we're used to the heat. You're in Florida, you're going to play in the heat right there, but he's a very athletic quarterback, so it's going to be tough to chase him down with just D-linemen.
I know you haven't been here for the entire duration of Mike Evans' career, and few people have, but just what's it say about his ability to adjust his game, evolve with every single quarterback, with every single coordinator, coach, system that he's played in, to where he just continues to consistently get 1,000 yards every year?
Well, he's smart, number one. He's durable. He takes care of his body. He's the ultimate pro. He comes back in shape all the time. He do what's necessary for him to get ready to play ball games, and he goes out and plays.
In his later years of his career, the last few years, where have you seen his game kind of evolve?
Just mentally, I think different systems put you in different positions. I think he's been moved around a little more the latter part of his career, but he understands the game. He's just a good football player.
Well, not just that, but he also got a new OC in Liam Cohen, and a lot of people really believe in this guy. And hey, I'm inclined to believe people like the Pewter Report, and if you do not follow the Pewter Report and you're a Bucs fan, I don't know what you're doing. So make sure you go subscribe to them. They are one of the best, if not the best, resources for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So again, one of my most dedicated follows when it comes to this team. But yeah, this Mike Evans thing, hopefully he continues the 1,000-yard seasons. I would love for him to break that record. He is such a dynamic wide receiver, especially at his age. Oh my God. And I'm pretty sure last year, I believe it was 32 or more, nobody had a 1,000-yard season. So that's going to be an even crazier one. Is he able to do it well into his 30s? And does he remain with the Bucs? Does he go ring chasing at some point, even though he got one with Brady? I would just stay here, man. You might as well become the leading receiver for the franchise all time and put such a big gap between you and number 2 that ain't nobody going to catch you. So that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Make sure you put them in the comments below.
We saw Logan Hall wasn't practicing today. Just want to see how concerned you are about Sunday for him, and who might take on a larger role if he can't go.
Well, he's got a foot, so it'll go up until the weekend, and we'll see how he feels. And we got a plethora of guys that's going to platoon in that rotation right there.
Do you have a general idea how the running backs, Liam, will use them? Rachaad obviously 330-something touches last year. You've got a little bit of depth there now, Sean and Bucky. So how ideally would you see that kind of breaking down?
I think it'll be a game-by-game basis. You normally go with the hot hand, but since nobody has played yet, obviously Rashad starts, and then we'll kind of go from there and see how the other guys are used.
I agree, and I think the one thing people aren't remembering is Rashad is a great receiving back as well. So there's going to be some issues or some times where he's thrown into block and the ball goes to Bucky. I understand that's going to suck fantasy-wise, but Rashad is probably going to end up a top 10 running back, and he's going not in the top 10. So if you get the opportunity to take him in fantasy, make sure you do, because if Liam Cohen is everything that he was labeled as, boy, this is going to be a great team. We might be seeing a Bucs NFC Championship game, so that would be a crazy one as well.
What's the most impressive thing about Irving in your eyes, Todd? What did you learn about during the summer?
He's in early. He's probably the first player in after me. When I go to the training room and work out in the morning, I see him in there, and he's to be that young, to be in that early day in and day out, and not have many mental errors is impressive.
What time are we talking?
5-something, almost 6 maybe for him.
The Commanders have a really young secondary back there. When you look at it, what have you seen from them, and how can maybe kind of take advantage, obviously, with veterans like Chris and Mike, kind of take advantage of some of the matchups that you can maybe exploit?
It was a different system. I don't know if we can exploit them. They have long corners. They're very good with their hands. They can move their feet, and they can play the ball deep. Obviously, you can't throw it over their heads very much because of their height and their length, so it's going to be a challenge for us. Obviously, it's a different system that they were in, and we just got to be ready for anything.
And how difficult is that kind of, obviously, there's so much new in Washington, right? So it's not like you can look back and say, okay, well, they did this there, they did this there. Obviously, they play a lot of their starters. So do you watch more of like individual players and the new players that are coming in? Is it more of kind of going back and what maybe they did in Dallas or maybe Cliff did in Arizona? When you're breaking down a team that is brand new like this, how do you kind of put your game plan together?
Well, you watch a little bit of everything, With 2 weeks before the season opener, you probably overthink the week before, and then the week of, you kind of get back to basics and go with what you know, and make sure our own team has their rules down and play what they see, and not just play off of plays and formations and everything else and play ball from there. It's the first game, whether it was Washington or anybody else, is the unknown.
I agree, and Todd Bowles is going to continue to deliver these really muted answers. He's got an interesting style to him. He does like to give up some information, but not to, say, for example, his NFC South rival, Dave Canales, who at times overshares. Now, obviously, this division is still up for grabs, and I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to take the Bucs to win the division, just because I don't necessarily trust Kirk Cousins post-ACL, and I think this whole Penix thing might end up rearing its ugly head this season, and if that's the case, that could change things up, especially because the scheme would have to be changed to benefit Penix, given that he's a left-handed thrower. So Bucs have the best opportunity to win. They just need to go out there, win the offensive defensive line battles, and then Baker just needs to protect the ball, and they could absolutely win 10 games this year. That is my prediction for the Bucs: 10+ wins and a division title once again. I don't think the Falcons can do it. I just don't. Maybe it's something because it's just too much hype at this time, but if they end up coming out here and winning 14 games, oh well, there's nothing I can do about that. But I still believe in Todd Bowles, and Baker for that matter.
Graham Barton hasn't played a full NFL game yet, obviously, but from what we've seen in the preseason and Washington having some good defensive tackles, just what advantage is it to have sort of an athletic, big, elite type center in this league? You've gone against them before, and they seem to be few and far between.
He's athletic and he's tough. He's facing 2 great players on Sunday, but he's tough. He played like that in college. I think he'll be fine. Our big thing is getting used to playing 60-something plays, and then with the consistency that we want to play, and that's what I've been harping on all week. So it'll be a big game for him, but he'll face a great nose or a great tackle probably every week.
Todd, when you look at Dan Quinn, you've gone up against him when he was a head coach before. He's been a defensive coordinator. What is the trademark of the calling card of the Dan Quinn team?
Very smart, very disciplined, very tough. They get after you. Very well coached. I mean, Dan's a hell of a coach.
Along with Barton, Tyke, and Jalen, they'll both be making their first starts as rookies. What are you looking forward to see out of those guys this weekend?
Well, depending on the personnel group, I don't know if Tyke's starting, but, you know, we have enough confidence in them that those guys will go out there and play the right way and play smart, and the game won't be too big for them.
You're pretty stoic. Don't show a lot of your emotions. What's the season opener like for you when you walk out of that tunnel?
It's exciting!
You are now on video.
You always have the butterflies. You always have the butterflies when you go out there. I mean, it's opening day in the NFL. No different than when you were a player.
God, that was epic.
Here goes NFL total.
It was sitting there.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm super sad that the Bucks didn't have a camera on the other side of the room, because I would love zoomed in shots of all the reporters' faces when he did that. And hey, Bucks, I'm gonna tag you in this. If you guys have that video, make sure you release it, because I would love to see them all just go. They did not expect that. Thank you, Todd Bowles, for that. That is the character, the smile, and everything that I love, and why I think you're going to be the head coach for a very long time in Tampa, or at least I hope you are.
Let's cut the layup, right?
Okay.
Any kind of like nostalgia feel when obviously you're not playing in Washington, but you played for Washington, so when they come to town, no one's there. But still, does any like nostalgia kind of bring that back? Like, I played for this team, right?
I mean, it's the place that gave me my start. I can't ever forget playing for Washington. A lot of great teammates, a lot of great games I played in, played against a lot of great players. So without going to Washington, I wouldn't be standing here. Without Coach Gibbs giving me a chance, I wouldn't be standing here.
Well, and Tyreek Funderburg, he had made a comment that, hey, you know, like as an undrafted free agent, you know, he really looks up to someone like you that really had to earn your opportunity in the NFL and didn't have an easy way of doing it. So it's kind of cool guys on your own roster drawing inspiration from your career.
Yeah, but I was a lot better than Tyreek. So.
You had better ball skills because he was showing out during the game.
I have better ball skills than Tyreek. He hasn't got one pick in this league yet. I'm way ahead of him right now. Talk to me in about 10 years.
You know, some pictures of you, you know, from your playing days were circulating on the social media sphere.
Oh, gosh.
Earlier this week.
I would not know that.
Todd, is McLaurin a little bit overlooked, not by you, of course, but nationally in terms of being one of the elite receivers in this league? Maybe if he had started his career somewhere else with other quarterbacks. But Daniels has the arm to get him the ball, so how dangerous is he?
He's elite. I mean, he's always been elite for me. And watching him, just watching him play, the way he gets off the ball, the way he gets in and out of routes, the way his catch radius is, and the way he fights for the ball, he's an outstanding receiver. I don't think he's overlooked by a lot of people that's in the league at all.
If you're overlooking Terry McLaurin, you are going to lose. I think he is just like what Mr. Bowles said. He is dynamic. He's elite. He's able to get down the field. And, of course, now, like he said, he's got a quarterback that can get it to him. It's more of the other things. How are they going to establish the run? Of course, they've got Eckler there now, so that's an interesting dynamic and could really help them out. Again, another fantasy pick that a lot of people are avoiding just because of the other running backs behind him and, of course, the injury history. But, man, Todd Bowles being able to come full circle, of course, go against that team. I cannot wait to see Jaden Daniels on the field. I think it's going to be dynamic. But, again, I'm predicting a Bucks win, so good luck to you guys. This one's going to be a tough one. And, of course, I'm glad it's you guys seeing Jaden Daniels before my Carolina Panthers have to see them. Because if Jaden Daniels is the real deal, I'm not going to hear it. Or I'm not going to hear the end of it, I mean, when it comes to the Carolina Panthers pick for Bryce. So it's a tough time for a Carolina Panthers fan, but it's not tough to be a Bucks fan. And that's why you're here during this Bowles press conference in one place and one place only. Roll coverage, the home of the press conference breakdown.
This quarterback class has a chance to be maybe one of the better ones in years. 3 are going to start an opening weekend. Are these guys more prepared coming out of college than maybe they were 5-10 years ago?
I can't answer that question. Only time can answer that question, and I'm only concerned about one right now.
When you see Washington bringing in a guy like Bobby Wagner, who's still very productive at age 34. What does he bring to their defense and the guys around him?
Well, besides his playmaking ability, he's extremely intelligent. There's probably not an offensive play he hadn't seen or he hadn't dissected, and he can really breathe confidence into a defense because of his communication and the way he plays.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to Coach Todd Bowles and, of course, to the Bucs organization. Roll coverage is known for one thing. It's these press conference breakdowns, and I need to be bringing them more often to my NFC South fans. So for that reason, like I said, you're going to be getting more of this. Todd Bowles gives us a great press conference. This is about the third or fourth one we've done of Todd. And again, I'm super excited for this Bucs team. I think Baker's in a great position. The offensive line is upgraded and ready. Of course, assuming Graham Barton is playing at center. There's so many opportunities when it comes to the wide receiver room, and of course on the running back side, I have heaped tons of praise to those two gentlemen. Now the defensive side obviously is going to need to pick up some slack, going to need to be able to keep them within some manageable games. I don't think the Bucs are going to be this 45-point team every week, but it's certainly possible, especially like I said with McMillan, Godwin, and Evans. But I want to know your thoughts, because when I founded row coverage, I said the motto was sports for sports sake, because we don't need a reason to talk about sports. Now, if you ever want to come on the show, there's always an email below that you can drop me a message and I will get you on ASAP. Otherwise, just make sure you subscribe for more press breakdowns like this and hopefully more excited Bowls right here on row coverage. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.